Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
These Football Tuesdays are winding down here on KSL News Radio. Earlier tonight, you heard Cougar Tracks. This right now, 1st and 12, your weekly look at Big 12 football. And then later tonight here on KSL, you'll hear BYU football with head coach Kalani Sitake, the season finale, as the 10-1 Cougars get set to take on the UCF Knights. Mitch Harper, Alex Kirry with you, and let's dive into a look around the conference in our 1st and 12 headlines.
12 headlines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
The dozen storylines that shape this week of Big 12 football. Headline 1.
Right off the bat, Mitch, 4 Big 12 teams staying in contention for that Big 12 championship game. It's the Edward Jones Big 12 championship. How dare you? BYU, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and Utah. Of course, some of those teams, Arizona State and Utah, both need some help from Texas Tech and BYU, and there's a lot still to be played for, and yet at the same time, I think from a numbers standpoint, and don't get me wrong, because we've seen wild things happen, BYU and Texas Tech, of course, are those leaders there still, and the scenarios for them to get in is headline number 2, which is BYU and Texas Tech. If they win, they get into this thing, and that's kind of the end of it. I think also, are they both in if Arizona State loses in the Territorial Cup on Friday?
That's correct, yes. So if Arizona State lost, they would still both find their way in Arlington despite what happens in their games. But obviously, with the playoff implications, both those teams want to get a win and move on to Arlington next week at AT&T Stadium. And headline number 3, speaking of Texas Tech, they were on a bye this past week, but, man, they still worked their way into the Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman campaign. I was there in Cincinnati, and I see Jacob Rodriguez, and I thought to myself, Alex, I'm like, that's a double T. That can't be him, right? I mean,
I know.
We're in Cincinnati, and he was there at Big Noon Kickoff talking about the Heisman.
You and I didn't even talk about this, but I had the same exact thought. I was like, hold on a minute, because they were like, when we come back, and they showed him and his wife, and I go, we're going to have another Rodriguez family, for Heisman, discussion on the way back here. And I thought, did Big Noon Kickoff bring him? Did Texas Tech send him? Are they okay to do this whole – I mean, it's hilarious to me. Is it too much to have him as a Heisman candidate? The answer is abso-dang-lutely. A linebacker already is tough. A linebacker at Texas Tech on a year where he's having a great year. He's having an All-American type year. You are not anywhere near the Heisman candidacy because you ran a Wildcat touchdown in. I love the guy. I think his wife is awesome too, but I don't think that's how we hand out Heisman trophies anymore. But you know what? Texas Tech has tried a lot of crazy things with money to see how they could do, and it's gotten them far, so I don't know.
Headline number 4, BYU hammered Cincinnati with a physical ground attack led by a career high of 222 rushing yards from L.J. Martin. Looked like L.J. was a bit banged up. I actually spoke with L.J. earlier tonight, and he told me that he's a little bit sore after that game, but he'll be ready to go for this week against UCF. But when L.J.'s rolling, this BYU team is tough to beat, and it kind of makes you wonder, Alex, if L.J. stays healthy and they can get to Arlington, that rematch between BYU and Texas Tech, I still would think Tech would be a sizable favorite, but remember, LJ wasn't fully healthy against the Red Raiders a couple weeks ago, so that could be interesting.
Last thing he wants is to feel that confidence hit if he's not feeling 100%. And so if you're BYU, you're looking at opportunities to not have him play very much on Saturday against UCF if you can. But 32 carries, man, to be able to have that type of a workload, that was awesome for him. Headline 5, Cincinnati drops its 3rd in a row. They issued an apology to BYU and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for the familiar chants now that I think BYU fans have gotten used to hearing in some of the venues across not just the Big 12, but across the entire country. Everybody's starting to learn their lesson, I think, a little bit. I'm not sure if the Big 12 has come down with a fine yet, but I'm assuming it would be the same as what Colorado got. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard.
Haven't seen a public fine either, Alex, and it's been a little bit surprising because that was a public ordeal for the Colorado Buffaloes, and it was interesting at Nippert Stadium. It apparently happened in the first half, and I'll be honest, I kind of heard the chants a little bit in the press box. That it was pretty soundproof in that box. It was hard to make out, but you could tell there was a chant happening. But clearly, it's something that just can't happen. And hopefully more Big 12 venues, they just start to say, hey, don't do this, please, because really you point to every road game in the Big 12 this year, whether it was Colorado and Cincinnati where the actual chance happened, but then you point to Arizona. Brent Brennan said to their fan base, please don't do this.
Yeah,
Texas Tech, the basketball coach, Grant McCaslin, said, don't do this. Like, it's almost like they're having to tell these people, please do not act this way.
Yeah, and they don't want to get the fine, and they don't want the image either. So that's part of the deal, and that's a tough one for them. Baylor, by the way, announcing that Dave Aranda is going to be back. That's a shock. I think that they just have to figure out their new athletic director stuff, and they wanted to make sure that they had a football coach maybe in place for next year. And frankly, with the coaching carousel the way it is in college football right now, might be the best move for them. Headline number 7, Arizona, 4-game win streak for the Wildcats. I'm telling you right now, with the top 25 ranking now in the college football playoff, Arizona is as good as any team. Think about how close that game was against BYU. I think they lost a nail-biter as well to, Houston, maybe the next week. And that team is, Arizona is as impressive as anybody else in this conference right now in terms of being hot. If you're not Texas Tech or Utah or BYU, Arizona is right there, I think, with everybody else.
And they'll be facing their heated rival this weekend. And headline number 8, Arizona State's Relique Brown. He had an awesome weekend, running for a career-high 255 yards as ASU scores 21 points in the fourth quarter to roll through lifeless Colorado in Boulder. And now they're 8-3 and still winning ball games without Sam Levitt. Again, and any thought that Kenny Dillingham would just fold up shop without Levitt and maybe the coaching carousel rumors, no way, no how. ASU still winning football games. This is a really good program in the Big 12.
TCU going down to Houston and getting the win against the Houston Cougars. Houston blows it late, missed field goal, and the Horned Frogs get the road win. They needed that one badly. Number 10, Iowa State crushing Kansas. And I'm shocked. We talked with the Kansas beat writer today about that Utah-Kansas game, and they're like, we don't know what's going on with this team. We frankly don't know how long Lance Leipold is going to stay there in Lawrence.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. You think about, since we started doing this show 2 years ago, Kansas was viewed as a trendy pick to win
promises, yeah.
And now they've just kind of gone back to what we kind of know Kansas to always be. Headline 11 just happened tonight. Oklahoma State announced they hired their new head coach, North Texas head coach Eric Morris. He comes from the Mike Leach coaching tree. North Texas has the number 1 offense in the country by the S&P Plus ratings this year, so offensive firepower coming back to Stillwater to replace Mike Gundy. And then headline 12, 4 Big 12 teams are 1 win away from clinching a bowl berth: Baylor, Kansas, K-State, and UCF.
Pretty crazy considering that, it's a lot of decent teams in this conference. There's a lot of teams that are winning a lot of games. It's wild that the conference doesn't necessarily get the love across the board from those other members of the media and the other members of the College Football Playoff Committee, etc. But good teams across the Big 12. I'm glad North Texas's head coach got hired to Oklahoma State. You know what that means? Spread offense at Stillwater again, baby. You're going to see lots of points scored there, and more importantly, no defense, Mitch. That's what you want to see. No defense at Oklahoma State. I hope they turn things around there. I certainly like the hire, and I think the North Texas head coach Eric Morris was a great pick. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll chat about our Big 12 game of the week next, right here on First and 12 on KSL News Radio.